I'm going to show you is actually just to help me out, because I have such a volume of grading to do. And the last one I did was kind of difficult. Kind of So what you're going to do here is actually a technique that you can use actually at your job or whatever. You may already know how to do it. I don't know. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a PowerPoint file. Has anybody not used PowerPoint before? Been a while. Everybody's familiar with PowerPoint. At least a little bit. Okay, so I'm not going to do any exotic PowerPoint stuff. Basically, it is to send to me on Blackboard. You're going to upload it just like you were uploading an assignment. You're going to upload one file, and it's going to be this PowerPoint file. And I'm going to tell you a list of things that I want you to attach on this PowerPoint file. It's going to be a bunch of screenshots. Okay, so if you bring up, let's just bring up any random part. I'm going to open this. So let's say part of the assignment is I want you to do something special to this hole here. So I'm going to want you to, this text. So I want you to edit definition. I'll spell this out. I want you to do. So I'll say something like edit definition of that sketch so that I can see it like this. And now I want you to snip that, screenshot that, and put it in your PowerPoint file. So here's how you would do that. So it's under Microsoft Office 2013, which is on my computer under PowerPoint. And I guess it's not going to open on this machine. Quick blank presentation. And just click somewhere on this sheet, hit Control, delete. That just takes it over here. Alright, so we have that open and ready to go. I'm not sure where this is. I'm going to go find it. Yeah, there it is. So just type snipping or snip, and the snipping tool will show up. And it'll kind of get grayed out like that. Go ahead. If I'm asking you, for instance, to snapshot, show me a snapshot of the sketch, I'll say maybe show me the sketch that you did to make that feature. This is what you would do. And then just by clicking on this little double piece of paper or copy, it'll be on your clipboard now. So just go into PowerPoint, right click and hit paste. And now you have a nice little picture. Okay. So now when I'm grading, I don't have to open up 15 files, go to that feature, you can just show me all the information I need right at my fingertips. So making my life easier is really good for this.
So did you say that you're gonna tell us where to take the screenshots?
Yes. So you're going to do the assignment just like you did before, but this time I'm going to ask for specific pieces of information. You're going to screenshot them into PowerPoint, and then you're going to turn the PowerPoint into me. So that'll show me that you did the work and that you understood the assignment. Okay? And maybe if there's a spot where you're like, I have no clue what you're talking about here, I don't get it, maybe just type a word in there, I don't get that one, or just give me some explanation there, okay? Okay. So now I want to talk more about that. So that's the format of what you're going to turn in. Does everybody get that? Is that?
We'll just have a list of slides there.
Yep. So by the way, in case you've never used it, so I've done my first slide. If you hit new blank slide, you'll get a next slide. So then paste something new in here, or I can paste something by hitting Control V, do the same thing again. Yeah. Try to make it fit to the sheet. New slide. Okay. Do that. Actually, what I might do is I might just provide the PowerPoint so you can just build it. That's probably a cleaner way to do it. So this will say like maybe question 1, part A, part B, part C, question All right, so now down to what could be expected of this. All right, so there's going to be a part that you're going to open up, and it has two holes in it, okay? One has a chamfered edge, and one of the holes is not. Without adding another chamfer to the model tree, you guys should know by now how to make that other hole also have a chamfer. If you don't know, I'll tell you. You just go edit that old chamfer and add the new edge to it. You may have to hit control and put the next edge on. Exactly right. Okay? And their chamfers and rounds are kind of very similar to each other, how their functions work. So, you know how you can use sets of rounds? I think you can use sets of chamfers too, so just be careful that you're keeping it the same set so that I can see that they're the same. Okay? So I might do something like go ahead and put a chamfer. Oh, sorry, it's a chamfer. So let's say I wanted a chamfer on that edge too. Go into sets, set one. Here's my references. If I hit control and click another edge, it just adds it to that same set. It didn't add a new set. The green check mark. So I might say, edit definition of the chamfer. And then maybe screenshot this area so I can see how you did it. Okay. Or I may say, screenshot the model tree. Or I may say, screenshot the graphics area. Okay? Or all three. Depends on how much detail you need once I get into figuring out what that's it. Okay? Is that okay? Is everybody clear on that? So that's going to be pretty much the first question, because I'm looking pretty much, these are the notes I made from the test. So the thing I'm going to be looking for is that you didn't modify the whole feature itself. So you could go in there into the whole feature and create a chamfer-like shape to make the part look right, but it won't be the way it was really being asked. All right, the next one is a sawtooth cut. Let's see, this is a, okay, I actually want to demo this one too. This one. Oh, really? All right, so let's go over a couple things that I think you may have picked up by now, or should have. Did. Let's make sure we're clear up. So when I make a feature, or I'm sorry, when I make entities in Sketcher, everything is always defined. Okay, unless you get it really messed up, then it'll say I'm exiting auto-calculate mode. I'm not going to give you dimensions anymore. But basically, this thing is completely defined, so I don't have to define it anymore. I don't have to add dimensions to it to define it. But the dimensions are weak right now because they are, you can see they're gray. So I could actually double-click it and make it another number. And now notice it's yellow. So now it's a strong dimension. So let's say I drag this and get it somewhere. I right-click that. Let's say I want it to be 227.89. I can actually right-click it and make it strong without actually editing the dimension. So now it's not weak anymore. Okay. That's not the main part of this question that's going to be on the test, but I want you to realize that that's what's happening. So it's adding these strengths for us. It's adding for us that this line is being assumed that it is horizontal right now. Okay, I can actually delete that, and now look what happened. It added more dimensions for me. Remember, it's always completely defined. Okay, it knows where it is in 3D space right now because this bottom left-hand corner is attached to the origin. All right, so that's defined. It's defined in 3D space. It's not floating around, so it doesn't need dimensions telling it where it is. But now that I've removed this horizontal on that line, it has that freedom to move, and now it needed another dimension to define the part. See that? If I go over here, now this is weak, so it's not going to yell at me when I go over here and make this thing horizontal. It just goes away. See that? All right. Another thing I want to show you is the zipper idea. The reason they call this file, the file that we're talking about right now, or sawtooth, sorry, is that there's these shapes, and I'm not going to do the exact shapes, but you get the idea. If I draw some construction lines on my part to help line things up, notice I let it snap to the origin. Draw another one. Now when I draw these features in here, so notice all the dimensions that are showing up in here to define this part. So let's start getting rid of some of these dimensions so that it doesn't look so messy. But right now, I don't have to tell these lines to all be collinear to one another because they're all snapping to the center line. So I'm using this construction line or center line to help construct my model, construct my cross section, right? So now all I gotta do is, looks like the dimensions are already here, so I can just make them strong, or I can just make dimensions over top of them. And that weak one will go away. Okay. So as you further define the sketch with strong constraints, strong dimensions, the weak ones will start disappearing. Okay. I want to make that one horizontal. Still in dimensions. I'm basically just clicking it once, right clicking it, and clicking the horizontal, and then add that H to it. So now I know that that's constraints horizontal. I know these are constraints vertical. Okay. I have a line there, line there, line there. If I wanted to make the distance between here and here on each one of these the same, I could just make the length of that, the length of that, the length of that, all equal to each other. See how slowly the weak dimensions are going away? Let's see what else. My dimension on that other one. Yeah. So we just mentioned maybe from this edge here. Now that I've dimensioned this, these don't need to be dimensioned anymore, right? Because they're all being driven because I said that these are all equal to each other. See how it says L1, L1, L1? That means that all the length of these three are all the same. Okay? Oh, it doesn't know what the length this is. So I could actually say, put another length on, or width on this, and then all these, I can make these all equal to each other too. Let's go ahead and how I don't get the equal showing up, because I'm in the dimension plan. I gotta get out of that dimension. Put that right. So now, do I see any weak dimensions anywhere? No, so this is completely constrained. And look, I did that all with 2 angle dimensions, a couple construction lines, and then a couple location dimensions, and a couple size dimensions. I got this whole part. So now when I finish the part, give it a little thickness, it looks like that. All these lines here are all collinear with one another because of the center line. You can't see the center line now that we're on the sketch, right? And it's all aligned to the origin because my center line or my construction line was going right through the origin at that point. Does that make sense? So when you get it, you're going to get this part that has this already drawn. I think it's already drawn. And you have to just make sure you put this construction lines in there and put some constraints on it and make sure it's dimensioned correctly. Right, they'll show you, I think they'll show you the
Yeah, after all we've done for you. Be fair.
That's all you get to see. So you get to see the finished part, kind of like what I just showed you, and you get to see that. But then you got to read the instructions and see that you're only allowed to put a limited amount of dimensions on it. Okay, so you can download that model, part of that some of the features done. Let me actually look and see what the model is. Telling you, don't add a cut to the part. Okay? You gotta go in there and edit this feature and do it just like I did. Get that? So if I drew a circle in the middle of that sketch, it would be a hole in there.
Yes.
I'll have to make a cut. All right, so some of the patterning exercises you did, remember that you could make them alternate, or you could vary a dimension or some other, I guess, one thing you could do, or a height. You could do a height of the extrusion, or a dimension, or an angle, or something like that, by an increment of every pattern method. Remember that? So you could say, do a linear pattern with every one of them an inch apart, and then you could say, make every one of them still an inch apart, but make them a half inch taller as they go down the pattern. Remember that? Mm-hmm. That's what the next assignment, the next exam question is going to ask you to do. So it's going to give you this. it says create a pattern of the existing cut such that the resulting part matches the picture. Note that the dimensions in the picture are reference dimensions and do not represent the exact dimensions that will control the pattern. Can somebody see the pattern? It's not too hard to see what's going on there. Say it out loud. What's the pattern?
Increasing the size.
By how much? And so the varying increment of the pattern is 2, right? You're gonna have to make this cut, pattern it across, and then make the height of it, the height of the first one, which is gonna be what? What's the height of the first one?
I can't see it up here.
It's not on there. Be 30, right? So you make your first cut, make it 30 high, and then make, well, actually, they probably give you the first hole. So when you download it, you're gonna get one with just one rectangular hole. And then you gotta pattern it across, but then the increment that it increases, or the varying dimensions as the pattern goes across, is that a height. And you can say, what's the increment of the varying dimension? 2. Okay. So you have actually exercises that were even more complicated than that. The last one is a drawing exercise. Get an empty drawing. You do a multi-model drawing, so you know how to add another model to the drawing. Remember you did your multi-sheet drawing? You had to add another model to it. Okay, it's right there in the menu, you can add a model.
Is it a
Multi-sheet and multi-model drawing? Is that what you're gonna ask?
Yeah.
So it's 2 sheets. The first sheet should have the model Q3014, which you'll download. And the format, so they actually give you the format as a download. The second sheet should have the other model that you download, model 2, and its format. Create a single view of each model on their respective sheet as shown. Scale and view rotation is not important. The drawing example shown below is trimetric. So you gotta make a view on it that's trimetric. Does everybody know how to do that?
Is there another word like that?
Unless it's another language.
I don't think I've heard you say that.
Let's see, so here's the orient tab. This is in the model, not the drawing. But the default orientation. They already had those canned for you, so you can just use them. All right, let's go back to drawing. So here's where you would add another drawing model or another model to your sheet, right? Here's how you add a new sheet. Add another drawing. Here it is. So there's actually the default view is trimetric. So you got isometric, trimetric, and there's actually a dimetric too. I don't have it in this info here. So isometric and trimetric are kind of similar. They're kind of skewed up on their side. But the difference in that is trimetric is the bottom edge is horizontal. That's why it looks a little different. Iso's kind of kicked off on the side a little bit. then it was added, but here's the, we add new models, new sheets to the views, here's the view area model view, see that? So I just clicked general, and I just clicked on the screen, and then I made sure trimetric was the orientation when I did okay. Any questions about any of that?
Yeah, where did you go on the, I don't see view manager drawing section like it is on modeling. Where did you have to go to get to the?
So maybe you're trying to interview.
He didn't do view manager, he just wants to add.
Yeah, just go to make sure you're on the layout tab, and click general. It's not, I'm not projecting it, I'm not making a detailed view, it's just a general view. And then click on drawing somewhere. And then as soon as you do that, this drawing view properties thing shows up. All right. That's it. We'll do that next week and,